Hello there, Cody.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So,
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
yeah,
How are you today?
uh, fairly good, I would say. Yeah, yeah. And yourself?
Well, I'm pretty fine. Got a quite messy situation around me right now. I
Mhm.
gave you some information yesterday about it, but that's the part of life. Um, that's the way it is when you have parents that are getting older. So
Mhm.
a lot of things will take place around that. But we are about to clear that up, and everything is falling to pieces and working out pretty neat, actually. So we are live, and I will say welcome to everybody. This is Cody Bryce. Hello, Cody, once again,
Mhm.
and
Hello.
myself, Eva.
Mhm.
So we are here, and we are going to talk about chakra.
Yeah, chakra is kind of the staple of spiritual growth, if you will. Like most people start with the chakra system just because it's uh, the thing that kind of needs to be addressed first, if you will. There's also beliefs and all that other stuff, kind of just the general knowledge. But when you're really trying to raise your vibration and kind of get yourself healthy spiritually, you do kind of want to start with the chakra system.
So that raises a question immediately. Since we've been uh, having these conversations for a couple of years now, we never talked about chakra before. Why now?
Because I thought we already did. I guess it's just my memory. I swear it's like because it's so basic, if you will. I thought we already covered it, but I guess we went far. We kind of skipped over that. But
We kind of started in the other end of the
yes,
spiritual journey. Well, we are
yes.
back to chakra. There's a
Mhm.
loop. Um, so before we go any further, I would like to share just a picture here. Um, I haven't put on a slide. Let's see if I can find it here. Um, there it is. So I've just took a copy of this one from anahana.com, and because it's in English, of course, and it gives a pretty good example of the major seven chakra that we usually are talking about. So you can explain more about chakra because they are not just the seven chakra that we are seeing here, but there are the major chakra. So go ahead, Cody.
Yes, yeah. As you can see, or what most people know is the seven major chakras, the same main ones. But there's different thought processes on how many there are, where they're located, all that type of stuff. It can go from just 13 to 144. So it's a very wide range of what people believe to be how much we have. But technically, I'm not sure if there's a really exact number because I think every person is different and how we progress within the evolution cycle, or not evolution, but the expansion and kind of the our pathway on Earth, our chakras will change and upgrade and kind of shift and all that type of stuff. So the exact locations, how many there are, all that stuff is kind of constantly being upgraded and changed, depending on the vibration of Earth that you're on. And so yeah, and they're kind of all over the place. You got the main seven that are kind of within your spinal area going right up, but there's chakras that are all throughout your nervous system and kind of little spots that would be in your hands and feet and all that stuff, and so they're kind of everywhere.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting that you mentioned 144 chakras. So that is a
Yes.
number that is occurring within the chakras too.
Yes, yeah, definitely, because it's the base 12, if you will. They're, like 12 dimensions. Each dimension has 12 minor dimensions, and then it goes into the 12. And so eventually you get like 144,000 within kind of a thing. And it kind of goes the same with the chakra system, is that you have the major seven, but then they would say that there's also a major 12 because there's chakras that are outside of the body itself. They're above head and below the feet, and therefore it makes up like 12, and therefore those 12 have minor ones that get into adding up to 144. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Do you want to have this picture loaded while you are talking, or should we put it down?
You can put it down for now. I think most people have the understanding of that. They're kind of the seven and they go up to the spine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put you in focus here. So yeah. Well, keep going, dear.
Gotcha.
What?
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I guess we can start with actually the word chakra. It comes from a Sanskrit word meaning wheel, also translated into vortex or circle or cycles. And so there's multiple names that can be given to the chakra, and it's not just uh, it's not just coming from Eastern traditions and Eastern beliefs and all that type of stuff. Every single culture have had some realization that there's these energy spots within our body, and they might have go by different names in each of the cultures, but it seems like everybody has been tapping in or kind of seeing, feeling the same kind of system that the Eastern religion or Eastern traditions have called the chakra system. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. I can't recall that I heard about chakra that is talked about chakra up in the northern history books. It's an introduction from the East, from the Asian culture with the chakras. So, but of course, these energy fields, they are probably mentioned with other names. Do you know
Mhm.
how they describe the chakras in other cultures?
Yeah, well, some of them would be less complex, if you will. They wouldn't have been broken down into the seven. They'd be broken down into three: the lower, the middle, and the upper. And that would be more of like, let's see, like, well, traditionally like qigong and that type of stuff. Go with uh, the domains. Don't have the correct word for it, but it's the lower, middle, and upper. And so it's slightly still within the Eastern traditions, but even within the Eastern, they have their separations and the kind of the differences. And then with the Aborigines, they have a completely different understanding or system of it, and it's not as I don't think it's like broken down into individual wheels. It's almost just like one big wheel that is like constantly moving. And so they see more of a flow within it and they don't like really separate it out. And so yeah, each one kind of have their own viewpoint of it, but they kind of get it in the general sameness as that there's some energy there that is moving. So it
Yeah,
kind of has that. Yeah.
because every culture has or history talk about history cultures are talking about the life force, the above and the below, and that is a part of this key energy that is moving throughout the world. Fascinating.
Exactly. Yes, and it's there's a reflection of the human body to Mother Earth as well. For Earth has its seven chakra system as well. So each there's sacred locations spotted all over Earth that would make up its seven. And so yeah.
So we are going to go back to focus on the seven major chakra that we later eyes on that picture that we saw right now or before. So where do you want to start? Should we start from the bottom?
Yeah, generally you start with the root chakra. Yeah.
Hmm? Then do you want a picture? I can
So,
like just like this. So some people may have the questions why they are called Mulad Hara, or on the other side it says root chakra, and the location. I know that a lot of people have problems in separating the sacral chakra and root chakra from each other. Um, so you can talk a bit about that. I will be very happy if you
gotcha.
did. But it also has this mantra, Lam for root chakra and Vam for the sacral chakra. And that is also, and I just have to put it in there before we're talking, if you have other traditions and learning from this chakra um, examples that we are showing here, there are combinations that you are using mantras from, let's say you're using Vaira Lam, and that is a connection within the energy that are moving from one way to another way within the body's external bodies.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to
Mm-hmm.
say that? But there are so many combinations, so we are not going to dive in just in every direction here, and we are just going to keep it very simple with the seven major chakra. So go ahead, Cody.
Yes, yeah. And so the difference between like the Hindu pronunciation of it, where it's more complex, if you will, of a word, it's basically just their way of describing a root. It's like in their language, what would be the bottom. So each one has their own kind of definition to it, and they put it into their traditional words. And I never really learned those words just because I don't resonate. It's not within my culture, but within like Western culture and that type of stuff, we go with root chakra, sacral, solar plexus, all that stuff. That's kind of our way of describing different ones there. And then the different mudras, whatever. It's basically a frequency that you're able to tap into through the voice. And so when you're chanting those different notes, you're basically vibrating your body, your throat, vibrating your body at the frequency of the individual chakra that you are pronouncing. And so by going through it, you're basically just changing frequency up and up and up and up through the different words. And it's just how it's pronounced and all that type of stuff has different acoustics basically within your throat and in the chest and all that stuff that vibrate at a certain frequency that connects back into that chakra. Um, yeah, and the a fairly interesting one is that the first three, the root chakra, sacral chakra, and solar plexus, do kind of get grouped in together a lot of the times as the lower chakras. And I definitely put quotes on that because they're not lower or higher. They're not less than, if you will. Some people say, "Oh, it's the root chakra. It's the lower stuff. We wouldn't be working on the higher stuff." But each chakra has its wisdom to it. It has its purpose. Root chakra very much in ties with our ego, our individualization of being an incarnation on Earth and being kind of you. It kind of separates you. As surviving on Earth, individualized. And so it kind of deals with the kind of base instincts, if you will. And if we didn't have that individualization and the kind of push for survival or kind of knowledge of survival, we wouldn't be able to participate in this three-dimensional world. It would be just wouldn't survive. So it's kind of important. And it also deals with like financial stuff as well, kind of just overall, which is part of survival right now because most of survival deals with financial. And so yeah, it's definitely as just as important as all the other ones, especially as it's connected mostly to Earth and grounding. Kind of getting that connection with Mother Earth. It's very vital. And then moving up, I'll just kind of describe each of them going up in just a kind of an overview, if you will. And then sacral, usually connected with like pleasures, with relationships, connection with one another, kind of dealing with also like, was it guilt and shame? I believe is also connected with it. And so it's, and each of the chakras have its positive and negative attributes, if you will, to it, so there's always the balancing between it. And so, yeah, sacral very much trying to get that connection, also described as a very creative chakra, kind of where your artistic stuff your creation comes from. So after survival, you start creating things, that type of thing. Um, and yeah, and then you kind of move up into the solar plexus, the kind of what was called like the fuel tank, if you will, of Earth, where it's your like willpower is like where your energy is most kind of stored, and that gives you your push, your drive. It can also be kind of known um, as the kind of like the powerhouse of your chakra system, to where that's where a lot of the focus will be going lower and higher. Um, so a very interesting one. And then something that's might not be known is there's actually a half step or a mirror, if you will, that happens after the solar plexus chakra, where if you're trying to master each of the chakras, trying to fully balance and all that type of stuff, once you get up to the solar plexus, there's a mirror that stops you from going to the heart chakra. Because you have to kind of master the lower chakras before you're able to go into the higher chakras, and you have access to all of them at all times. It's just when you're trying to master it and become, a fully balanced, human being, and there's that kind of stop way so you don't go too far too fast. But once you kind of master the lower ones, then you can get into the heart chakra, which deals with love, deals with connection, deals with your unity with the other people around you, your heart to heart connection. um, and so yeah, it's a very powerful one. Also, the energies kind of move from the heart going down into your hands, so that's your actual connection, your uh, interaction with Earth, coming from heart, going, all that stuff. So it's a very powerful, beautiful one. Um, and then going up into the throat chakra, my hardest one, or my most blocked one. um, throat to being expressive, being able to fully communicate yourself, being able to speak your mind, hold your truth, that type of stuff. Very much a truth focused chakra. And also the bridgeway between the heart and the higher mind, or the mind. So it's the if you have kind of a blocked throat chakra, it's often hard to have that balance between heart and mind. They kind of tend to be separate, and therefore you're kind of fighting each other all the time. But once you have the good bridgeway, they kind of start communicating more, which throat communication, kind of happens. And then moving up, third eye, very well known, chakra, and with vision, sight, intuition, kind of awareness of your surroundings, all that stuff. Kind of getting more into the psychic abilities that is innate with everybody. And yeah, that one also is very connected with the pineal gland as the kind of what's called like the bridgeway, or like you might say like a portal to the multidimensional existence. So like once you get up into the third eye chakra, you kind of have more awareness of multidimensionality, like your ultimate dimensionality. And then finally, crown chakra, which is your connections to your higher self, to oneness, to source, all that stuff. And it's kind of usually the one that stays the most clear. Usually, most people's crown chakra isn't blocked. It's kind of rare if your crown chakra is blocked, but just because it's like so high of frequency, that's kind of hard to clog it up, if you will. Yeah, so those are the kind of overview of all the chakras. Most people know it, but it's always good to just kind of have a reminder.
So the crown chakra is the purest, purest chakras in the human body.
Yeah.
They just made a joke of that. That's good. Um, I want to drop back into, now that you have explained the different chakras here, I want to go back to the first chakras, the three first chakras there. You mentioned that is the survival state, the chakras are connected to Earth, and I would like to add that it has a lot to do with the feminine energy. So when you are looking into the different shamanic stars and priestesses, etc., they are working with the feminine energy. It's not connected to the womanhood by itself, but the energy, the yin and yang energy, the female energy. So. Uh, it's very important to have those chakras in balance and using them, to use them in ordinary life. And a lot of healers have a very strong sacral chakra. The orange energy, if you want like to call that, or the key, has its um, I was about to say origin, but of course it's not the origin, but it has its place that where it expresses itself from the sacral chakra. What do you think about
Very
that?
much. Yeah, very much. Because when you're trying to heal, like with healers having very strong sacral, it's the connection with the others, being able to have the empathy, having it's also connected with heart, but it kind of how most chakras have connections with each other chakra, kind of going back and forth. Sacral will also be connected with heart. The sacral being connection, it's kind of also with pleasures and all that stuff and healing. When you're healing someone, you're actually healing yourself as well, and therefore there's like a pleasure aspect to it, a kind of a connection and desire, if you will, of wanting to do that type of thing. And so
Mm,
yeah, it's very powerful. It's also very creative with the sacral being a creative kind of artist type of chakra. You kind of have to be that creative type of person to be able to tap into these healing energies. You don't have to be a full, artist, but there's artistry in all different forms. It's not just drawing, not just music. Healing is a form of art. So yeah.
definitely. And you addressed so many times when you talked about the chakras that they are even though their location are different in our bodies, they are etheric and they are also connected to each other, and together they work their own magic. Each one on their own work their own magic, and if you change the chakra combination, it works another magic. So they are connected to each other in so many levels that it's almost impossible to describe in a show, but because it's energies. So it's like you're mixing, you mentioned the sound energy, it's a vibration that it vibrates on different um energy fields, and of course they make their own sounds, and you can do your chanting with it, and you are affecting the different chakras in different ways. So you can have a mantra, and by changing the melody to it, you will get different response within the same chakras. So that's kind of interesting to elaborate with. Um, and of course, since they are so alive, because they are amazingly alive, there's so much energy. I almost feel like a bit lyric now that we are talking about it because they are so present, and so the energy is so present and live. Um, but back to the first chakras, now that we have mentioned it's connected to the female energy. Have you noticed that there are a lot of videos out there? No, you don't watch YouTube, whatever. But there are a lot of video sequences that are appealing to the ego. If you're seeing this, you are the chosen one,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
and a lot of people are responding to that because you're tapping in there, you see a video, and it's like, hey, you, I'm talking to you, you're chosen, um, and yeah, what did I want to say with that?
Yeah, well, it makes you feel special, like
It
you
makes
are
you feel
important.
special, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And
Mm,
that is the piece of mastering, maybe, that you were talking about. You can't, peel off these lower chakra and saying that they are like the lower chakra, that I won't be tapping into them because they are holding me back. That is not the thing. The thing is that if you are going higher and using the upper chakras, you need to have a full connection with the other chakras too.
exactly. Yeah. So you don't want an upside down pyramid. You just topple over, So you want that strong foundation to really have that solidarity in who you are, because the individuality from the root chakra, the
Mm.
connectiveness, sacral, and the willpower, so to speak, of the solar plexus give you that that kind of connectedness of I'm going to live my life how I want to live it. So I have importance of myself. I don't have to rely on other people and for validation and all that type of stuff. And so you get kind of true into yourself. You kind of get this awareness of who you are, who you want to be, that type of thing. And so it's kind of the bottom of the pyramid, if you will. And then you kind of get higher and higher. You work off of those. And if you don't have that good foundation, then you're just going to be tip toppling energy and imbalance and all that stuff. So you can have, really powerful third eye. But if you don't have the groundingness of the root chakra, then you're just not going to be an individual anymore. You're going to get too spiritual, and your life will be out of balance. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So moving up to the solar plexus chakra, you said there that it is connected to the will and power. And most of people also get this gut feeling. Not so much in the heart, but you can actually feel how it's tingling in within the solar plexus when something is not as it should be, or if it's something that is drawing your attention to it, or
Mm-hmm.
do you elaborate with that?
Yeah, you could say it's like the base intuition,
Mm.
where intuition that you might get up in the third eye and all that stuff might be a little clearer, might have a little bit more words to it, if you will. The gut feeling is more emotional. It's more visceral, so it's more physical of an intuition. Also, like the stomach itself, if you want to go physical with it, the stomach actually has like brain cells in it, and so it's almost a second brain, and therefore you do have that kind of awareness, or kind of like a, yeah, I guess awareness would probably be the best term for it, in the stomach, which is solar plexus connected with the stomach.
Mm.
And so it is drawing upon that, kind of knowing if something's on and off. Your diet and all that type of stuff will affect, how you're feeling, and then therefore it will affect how well you perform, how much willpower you have, how much drive you have, and it will also affect how intuitive you are within your entire body itself. And so it's definitely very kind of underrated, if you will. You got that gut feeling, and some people would just see it as that phrase, just gut feeling. They don't really connect it to like, oh yeah, it is actual physical reaction, actual
Yeah, so
true.
if you're more
Mm-hmm.
mental with your third eye, you are definitely more
Mm-hmm.
emotional with your solar plexus.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm. So now we're at the heart chakra. So you mentioned that it is connected out within your hands.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. When you're moving energy within your body, you can think of it as it's going up here, and then once it gets here, where the heart and throat is, it will V off into the arms. Therefore, you kind of have to go through your heart to be able to separate into your hands and then have that connection outward. Also when you're doing energy healing, or like the crystal healings that I do, it's receiving and giving through your hands. It's not uh, it's not limited to just the hands and all that stuff, but it's one of the main focus points. and so yeah, there's other chakras that would be within the hands system and all that stuff, but those are the minor chakras. The major chakra that those work off of would be the heart chakra. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, because if we're talking about healing, and you mentioned there that there's a lot of ways for the energy to express itself. So the hands is not just one part of it. And that's true. You can use healing through your eyes, your voice, um, the invisible energies around you. There are so many ways of using that, but it's all connected to the key, to the life force, to the stream that runs through every chakra. So
Mhm.
once again, it will come back to the sacral chakra. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the heart. But the heart is also a beautiful place to connect. Yeah, and you mentioned it, connecting from heart to heart. And it's also a connection platform for a lot of um, eh, information, exchanging information with etheric beings.
Yes, very much. Yeah, it's one of those things where the heart is so connected with everything that So it's kind of like where your Merkaba originates, if you will. And your Merkaba is kind of your vehicle for reality, moving through reality. So, yeah, so one of the things that I love about the heart chakra and how it represents how connected we are to everybody and everything is that uh, when the heart beats, it pulses, it lets out an electromagnetic pulse. So it's constantly pulsing out. And that pulse moves at basically like faster than the speed of light. It is just immediately out. And so for every single like beat of the heart that you have, that pulse is connecting to every other pulse, every other heart that is on Earth and beyond. And it goes to literally the entire universe. And so you beat and you're connected with the universe. You beat and you're connected with the universe, connected with the universe, constant every single time. And all the other people that are having their heartbeats, they're connected with you. And so there's an information exchange and kind of this connectedness between all hearts on Earth and all hearts, if you will, in the universe. So you're constantly connected with everything and everything around you through that pulsation of the heart. And why some people have heart attacks and all that stuff was actually just a kind of misalignment between your heart and the other hearts. And so you kind of get this slipping, if you will, of different beats and stuff. And therefore you're not aligned with it. And therefore you're going to have this heart attack because you're not in line with the collective heartbeat, if you will.
So,
But
an interesting aspect of that is that a lot of people are connecting and get synchronized by the moon, especially females. They are connecting to each other with the moons and the cycles. So, therefore, the next question will be, so we are connecting each other and are synchronized with our heart with other people's hearts.
mhm.
That is what
Yeah.
you are saying.
Yes, yes, yeah. And we are always connected with each other from
Mm.
the heart itself. Yeah. Yeah. There's always other aspects that we're connected to each other, but the heart is kind of the one that's like, if you have a sphere that goes around your body, the heart is where that sphere is going to originate from. And so that's where it goes out, boom, boom, boom. And so we're in each other's hearts always.
Yeah, and we can connect so many things to the heart chakra, like the I am
Mhm,
presence.
mhm,
And we have all heard about that. And the Antakarana is also, when you are using mantras connected to the Antakarana, you are actually driving the energy into your heart, and from the heart, connecting out with both within and outwards yourself. So it's kind of impressive. We do love our hearts. And another thing by connecting with the hearts that we can mention is that since we are able to tap into each other's heart frequencies, or we are connected, we should also be aware of how we are affecting each other with that frequency more than we actually believe that we are.
yeah, very much. Yeah, there's a lot of hidden kind of slight interaction, slight energy shifts, all that type of stuff. If you're having a really hard day or something like that, and you can kind of feel that within your energy, the room will affect everybody's energy, even if they don't realize it or you don't realize it, just because you're constantly putting that energy out through the heart and through all your other senses and energies and that stuff. But yeah, it's really like a lower heart will affect the others, but a higher heart, if you will, higher, lower, a heart that is in harmonic balance with itself, a good beat, if you will lift up everybody as well. So if you walk into a room and you have this glowing heart, that will almost force the other hearts to glow as well. But of course they all always have free will and therefore they can choose to accept the energy or not. But most of them will, in a subconscious way, uh, allow that energy to affect them and kind of take in that frequency, take in that energy.
Yeah. And the interesting fact is that we are not just talking about, we can actually feel physical within our bodies where the chakras are when we are going in trying to meditate and opening up the chakras. We can actually feel within ourselves. Usually when there is a blocking energy and that are stuck because that that feels
mhm,
more than the open one. But you can actually feel it within within your body. But that is not the only place where this energy is placed. You actually have this energy. If we are talking about the heart energy, we have that outside of our physical body into our etherical bodies. That's why we are connecting with all of our chakras
mhm.
with other people. But the heart chakra is the one that are anchoring in more than the other chakras to other people.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, it's kind of the key to how what was I going to say, like the key to be able to understand that you are the other, if you will. And so, like you, with the root chakra, you definitely have this individual, type of thing, and you move up, and once you get to the heart, it allows you to be the individual while knowing that you are the other as well.
Mm,
And so that's where you kind of open up the empathy of kind of feeling the other's pain, feeling the other's emotion, all that type of stuff. And that allows you to feel more connected with them, therefore feeling uh, the collective consciousness, the collective feeling, the collective I am presence,
mm.
within each person.
So we could say that when we are talking about lower and higher heart energy, it's more like if you're are in balance with your own energy and your own chakras, and the higher energy is when you are more connected with the spiritual, etherical heart chakra within yourself and other, and that is the energy that is so more difficult for the lower chakras to diminish or
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so glad
It's,
you
yeah.
understand me.
It's,
So, so we are moving from heart chakra to our throat chakra.
yes, yeah, communication, kind of being able to speak your mind, speak your truth, very powerful one because it's how we interact with others is through the voice. It's how we spell. Like I always love that when we spell words, we're casting a spell, we're casting energy out there. So the words that we speak affects reality, creates reality, and all that type of stuff. So having a strong throat chakra also means that you have more control over the reality that you want to speak out, that you want to produce and create.
Mm,
And so it's, yeah, a very powerful one. Also, just within the connection, like I said, the bridgeway between the heart and the higher self, the higher mind. If you if there's a miscommunication because the energy of the throat chakra is blocked off, then they kind of get misaligned, and it's harder to distinguish what you want and what you need. The Where your heart is taking you and where your mind is taking you, that type of thing. Mm-hmm.
it's a very beautiful chakra,
Mm-hmm.
the heart chakra. It's a very creative chakra. Um, I know it has a lot to do with expression. It's not just the spoken words, it's also thoughts and emotion and how you're expressing those is an expressive chakra, but
Sure.
it's also a receiving chakra.
Oh, yes, yeah, yeah, because most like well, I was going to go a little bit higher into the brain because the brain is basically just a receiver and transmitter. And so there's nothing really stored within the brain. It's basically just electrical signals that you receive energy and transmit energy. Within the throat chakra, it's basically the same. You're transmitting energy, also receiving energy. But it's also kind of the one thing I was going to say about the speaking of it is that your throat is literally vibrating, which is creating vocal tones, is creating, actual speech is the vibration within your vocal cords and all that stuff. Therefore, you're creating frequencies, and that's what is actually when you're speaking is the frequency that you're creating within the throat, coming out and affecting the world, that type of stuff. But yeah, it's also projecting, receiving, all that stuff. So, yeah.
And once again, it's how you're using your voice. So when you are speaking, if you are using a vibration of compassion and love, for example, you will bring in that frequency within those words and it's moving out. towards that one that you are talking to or the place that you wanted to go. It's almost like a verbal healing spot.
Oh, yes, very much. Yeah. And like you can tell when someone's speaking if it's like, if it's true compassion that's coming through, um, it will have this lightness to it. You can kind of tell, but you can also tell if there's malevolence, if there's kind of this like hint of like anger or that type of thing. It's always very slight, but you can tell within it. And some people are better at hiding it than others, but it's still a feeling that you can get from the words just based upon the tonality that is coming out,
Mm.
and energy based off of that tonality, the frequency that is coming out. So yeah, it's very nuanced, but very powerful,
Yeah. So we are talking about the chakras and healing, and we mentioned that a lot of healing comes from the sacral chakra, and it also comes from the heart chakra, and expressed by the throat chakra. So that brings us into chanting and using the words, using the frequency as sound. Will you talk a bit about that? We have mentioned quite a bit about the frequencies and the sounds before when we have talked about vibrations, but it's not connected to we didn't mention the chakras, but it's kind of effective to do these chantings.
Oh, yes, very much so, because it's just as you're vibrating the energy out, you're also vibrating the energy in. And so whenever you are chanting, the classic ohms and all that stuff, you're bringing the energy up within your body itself. Therefore, it might be connected just with, the crown chakra, but you're moving it throughout the entire body as well. And just physically, when you're vibrating your chest and all that type of stuff, it's loosening up things. It's loosening up the body. It's loosening up tightness. So it's also good for breaking up blockages, kind of allowing energy to move more freely, within the body, kind of heal itself over time. And it's all based just within the vibration that you're creating within the body and projecting out from the body. You know,
Mm. Almost
yes,
getting a bit lyric here. So
yeah, mm,
yeah,
mm,
moving on, shall we,
yes,
to
yeah,
our
yeah, the third eye.
third eye.
Yes. Yeah,
A lot of
very.
focus on a
Yeah.
third eye right now.
Oh yes, yeah. I think it's the one that people mysticize a lot. Like
Mm.
they kind of bring it into this like, oh, opening up the third eye, you become a master and all this type of stuff. It's kind of the focus of like, people who start getting into spirituality, start learning about the sacred, the chakra system and all that stuff. They immediately want to go to the third eye because they think it's going to give them power or some type of give them some type of edge over everybody else or something. Um, and it's also just the most fun to play with, if you will, because you get to see into multidimensionality. You get to have more intuition, get more of that kind of psychic downloads of energy. You start channeling and all that stuff, that type of thing. And so it's a real kind of it's it's a I was going to say a trendy one, a trendy chakra,
Well, yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is. A lot of people, or the communications that I hear sometimes, is that if you're spiritual, you have opened your third eye and you can see into other dimensions and you can see auras. And yeah, and they're so connecting just the seeing of aura of being, like a guru statue. So,
Yeah.
and I kind of wonder if they are actually believing that themselves. Um, yeah, definitely. It happens a lot of things when you open up the third chakra, the third chakra, of course, but the third eye. But seeing isn't always the same thing as being spiritual aware.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a fine tuning to it because
Mm.
like if you try to open it too quickly, it actually just confuses you and you don't really actually understand what you're seeing or what you're feeling, all that stuff, and therefore it can kind of be a detriment because you're trying to do something that you're not ready for. You don't have the basis of the other chakras that you need to focus on first, you know.
Mm.
So a lot of people that get into the spiritual, stuff, they immediately try to open their third eye, try to do that type of thing, and immediately, go right up to the higher frequencies when they're not ready for it, and therefore it's either almost impossible to do because the body's rejecting you being able to do that. It's not within your, life plan, if you will, um, or it just opens and kind of messes with your entire system to where you kind of have to shut down and restart again because your body is like, you did too much. What are we doing? You have to get the others in line first and all that stuff. But yeah, it's definitely uh, it's very powerful, but also overhyped, if you will, to where it's not the end all be all with spirituality. It is one focal point, but the rest of your being is the thing that allows for those higher level or higher, I would say more advanced techniques, if you will, so the astral projection, the uh, tapping into multidimensional frequencies and that type of stuff. That's not just third eye stuff; it's your entire being,
Yeah.
Um, and so, like, yeah, like I think one of my favorite like stories of that type of thing is that when I first started getting into balancing the chakras, I would go through my system, but the third eye would still be slightly open because whenever I have my eyes closed and I look out, I see the color of each of the chakras that I'm working on. And so there's a famous quote from Shiva that said, when I sit and close my eyes, I see orange. So he looks at the horizon and he sees orange, and therefore he's connecting with the sacral chakra and seeing the earth as sacral, kind of lit on fire, as we would say, Um, and so that's what you kind of first see, if you will, or at least that's what I first saw with my third eye is the other chakras that I was working on. And so it allows you to visually see how clear they are, how prevalent, that type of thing, kind of the nuances within it. And while you're raising the frequency through like a chakra meditation, where you within one meditation you're kind of raising the chakras and all that stuff, you can visually see that you're going from one chakra and opening up and opening up and opening up.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it's definitely a spiritual chakra, definitely.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
when it opens up, you are usually getting a broader picture of
Mm-hmm.
what the universe, I was supposed to say how the universe look, but
Mm-hmm.
how things are connected to each other. What we are saying here is that it's not the only chakra that is connected to the spiritual realm, and that is so easy to classify them as lower chakras and
Mm-hmm.
try to get rid of those energies there, but we do need them to have a full scale combined energy
Mm-hmm.
burst of
Exactly.
spiritual awareness. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's you can say that it's very important, but you can't, you know, do anything with this, higher frequency stuff if you don't have the understanding of the lower frequency stuff. So like having the heart chakra is almost like having the kind of solar system body, if you will, if you want to go like different levels. You got root chakra is like individual body or like earth body. Heart chakra is like solar system body, and then once you get up to the third eye, that's like galaxy body. It's you're just kind of moving up, but you can't have one without the other. So
Hmm. It's almost like the uh the three I was about to say Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. The
yes, yeah, yeah, very
uh,
much Holy Trinity or whatever. Yeah,
Trinity, yes, that's the
yeah.
one.
So
Trinity,
yeah,
yeah.
hmm
Well,
yeah,
that's cool. So, what can we say
hmm
more about the third eye? Because
yeah.
even
Well,
though we are pointing fingers here,
yes,
it's an interesting chakra. It is, and
very
it's
much so.
definitely connected to the spiritual realm. So,
Mm.
talk more about that.
Yes, well, the third eye was also very prominent within the Egyptian culture, as you would see with the Eye of Ra, because they knew how powerful it was. So they literally have one of their main symbol as the Eye of Ra, which is also the symbolization of kind of the horizontal cut of the brain where you have the pineal gland and the hippocampus type of. I believe there's actually another one that's the going around and going down, but yeah, it's very symbolistic of like your connection to multidimensionality. So it's when you open up that third eye, when you have it fully cleared and all that type of stuff, you have more access to, let's say, like the Akashic records, having more access to instant information that you need at that time. So it's you're opening up abundance to uh, information, if you will. It's a very much like an information central, kind of chakra towards all of like data, like even visually and energetic and all that type of stuff. It's kind of just data that is coming through. Um, and yeah, it's you know, um,
That's kind of
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Now I'm getting these pictures just for fun. They are putting pictures in my hand, and I see this connection when they are moving the awareness into a computer. It's
mm-hmm.
almost like a data chip, data chip.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So when we are spiritual uploading our references, then we can put them into another computer.
Yeah, another being, yeah, exactly, yeah, and the device, yeah,
Um,
exactly, yeah. Well, I also got that image as well of like when you're trying to download an image, I see like a USB drive being connected right into the front, and so it's like that's where it plugs in,
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Well, that's an interesting aspect of it because the downloads. Uh,
mm,
that is also something that they hear people say that they are getting downloads from the universe or downloads from other people. So I want you to explain a bit about downloads and how they work.
mm,
And what's the
yeah.
difference between getting a download from the universe and what is the difference with getting downloads from another human being?
Yeah, so from the universe, it'll be kind of individualized, but also can be collective. So, like if you say, like talking about the astrology, how different planets are affecting other people and all that type of stuff. So that would be like energetic levels that is affecting everybody,
Mhm.
and those would be an energetic download of the information that's going to happen within the that energy field of this planet, all that type of stuff. And so in the same way, the universe, can be having this mass energy kind of not forced, but like projected onto the consciousness or the beings of Earth or everybody type of thing. And so it's collective to everybody, but only the people that are in tune with that frequency will be able to download the energy and utilize it. Everybody will might get it, but they might not be aware of it. They might not be able to utilize it, that type of thing. And so when it's from the universe, it can be very generalized, and it's only the people that are in tune with it are actually going to get it. I would say that's like universal type of thing, but it can get very personalized where there's very individual transmissions, if you will, from higher dimensional places, higher dimensional beings, that type of thing that are projecting certain energies to a very specific person. And so when you're getting downloads from like the Pleiades or you know, um, some type of civilization that is higher dimensional, it can be very like individual. Like this person needs this information at this time, and therefore they download the energy, which is basically just tapping into the frequency, which gets translated into information that you either are aware of or is just stored within your DNA, because your DNA is kind of just like the memory card. you know,
Mm.
uh, when we're talking about the USB up here, the DNA is kind of the memory card. um, that holds
Blueprint.
all that. Yeah, the blueprint. Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah, and so and then from an individual, like a person, Earth type of thing, it actually is more based upon your DNA itself, because the DNA, we're talking about the heart being connected all the time. The energy within your DNA is also being projected from your heart to the others. And so if you have specific energy downloads within your body and you go, walk next to a person, they can tap in to those energies and kind of download it from you, and neither of you can know it's happening at all, be like conscious of it, but the higher selves will know that there's this kind of communication happening. The body will know that it needs that information, therefore you'd be tapping into it. If there's intentional information, like when I do my energy crystal healings, that's a form of downloads. It's a form of me tapping into an energy that the crystal wants to project out, and I am kind of the medium to be able to go and project it further than what the crystal is able to do here. And so it projects out from the heart to everybody else. And so it's more intentional DNA or intentional data. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So you can say that it's almost like the heart chakra when it vibrates in harmony with other people, it's actually transmitting energy from one heart to another heart, and that is what makes them get in the same rhythm or frequency, get within the range of the same frequency. So that is kind of how it's transmitted. That's interesting. You also mentioned that when you're getting downloads from universe, you get information stored within your consciousness, but it's also placed within your body, right? So if it's placed within your body, it can also be placed within the chakra fields, and the chakras have connections to different physical areas within your body. So is there a footnote about being aware of what kind of downloads we are getting? Because we do know that people sometimes are tapping into energies or getting energies that are hooked into the etherical body and actually working its way into the physical body, that are energies that are drawing energies from ourselves.
Yes. Yeah. So
And
it
that
would
is type of
be,
a
yeah,
type of a download too, other
yeah.
from another perspective.
hmm Yes, yeah. Well, I'd see the awareness of it, like
Mm,
being able to know what the download is, all that type of stuff comes from the kind of your sensitivity to frequency.
mm,
Some people, it's actually not necessary for them to know it. They just get it and live out the energy. They might not be any consciousness aware of what it is or, any specifics of it. They just take in the energy and utilize what they need to utilize. Other people, like myself, tends to be a little bit more sensitive to the energies that are being, given to me or that I'm taking in. And therefore, it's more prudent, or it gets more translated not directly into the body, but it might pass through consciousness first, might pass through my awareness. So I might have some notion of where the energy is from, what type of energy, what's it going to affect, that type of thing. And then once I kind of like accept it, like, oh yeah, okay, so that's that, then it can finally go into the body. So it's almost like there's a not a guard, but like a gate that, some people don't have a gate. It's completely open and the energy goes right through, type of thing. But other people have a gate set up to where it has to go through that checkpoint first, and then kind of goes through, Um,
mm.
but there are energies that will just go right over the gate, even if you have one, because they're needed to be in the body, and you just might not have a need to be aware of it right now, but you will get aware of it when the time is right, because it's all within synchronicity, all within uh, divine timing, if you will.
So by working with your chakras within your body is open up for the possibilities of getting downloads that you otherwise wouldn't get.
Yes, definitely, yeah, because it's if you're at a frequency that is, let's say, like, I don't want to catalyze it like lower, higher, that
Yeah.
type of thing. But if it's a fairly lower frequency, you might not have any need for a download that someone at a higher frequency is going to get, because them getting that type of download allows them to express their energies better, allows them
Mm.
to move further on, get higher informations, tap into energies more readily, easier, that type of thing. So there's a whole different level of energies that they're going to be getting. But the lower energy, vibrational people will get separate downloads. They'll get things that are in tune for them, to tap into and to utilize all that type of stuff. And they will just probably not know that they're doing it. Most people don't know what downloads or energies or chakras or that type of thing are. They're just kind of going throughout their daily life, And so a lot of them will be getting downloads that do this have no clue that they're getting. Whereas the upper here, they'll have a clue, they'll understand, they'll intentionally tap into things, all that type of stuff, and it'll be completely separate energies that they get. It can is useful for them.
So technically, we can say that downloads are there to fix bugs within the physical systems.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it's to fix bugs, to enhance them, update, that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're very much like a computer. Yes.
Yeah. So moving forward to our crown chakra.
Yes.
The
The
high
crown.
vibrational chakra
Mm-hmm.
of the highest essence of energy that we receive here on Earth.
Yes. Yeah. It's very much the portal or connection to the higher self. It's the which is kind of it's higher self and just source in general, source energy, kind of higher vibrational energy. Because when we say higher self, a lot of people miscondone that or misthink that the self is literally higher than them. It's like they're overviewing, but the higher self is technically within the body. It's not like some separate entity that's overlooking. It's one and the same. It's just that energy has more awareness. There's often the analogy that the higher self is the one on the mountaintop while you're in the valley, and therefore it can see, your road ahead, if you will, and it can tell you, don't go that way, you might fall into a pit, that type of thing. So it's giving you slight guidance of where to walk, But with that analogy, it kind of makes it seem like it's separate from us, but it's technically just it's one being. The crown is basically just allows for an opening of a portal. Like when we talk about downloads and stuff like that as well, the crown chakra is usually where those downloads are going to be entering because it's the most open gate, if you will, for those higher frequencies to come through and for higher frequencies to be released as well, because you are always projecting energy out, and therefore it's where the higher frequency are going to be going up and connecting to higher, to other things and connecting to the collective consciousness and the grid around Earth and all that stuff. So it's like the highway of high frequency energy, going back and forth, and that's why it seems to be open for most people and never really gets blocked because there's a constant flow always going.
Interesting. I had a question and it's so gone right now.
Oh, sorry.
It's so gone. But it's almost like our own Stargate.
Yes, yeah, very much. Yeah, it's
Constantly open.
Yeah,
So
constantly open.
it also vibrates in a very high frequency. So we know
Mm-hmm.
the frequency of both light and sound,
Mm-hmm.
which means that we are like light beings,
Mm-hmm.
beacons
Nice.
in the darkness, in the
Mm-hmm.
waste of space and whatever. But that means that since we are getting our chakras in line with each other and they are vibrating and we are feeling good, we are spiritual beings walking here, we are also pushing that light um, outside of us and literally
Mm-hmm.
sending light codes to other entities that we are here.
Oh yes, yeah. It's you're projecting a light. You're, if you, start off of your journey as a tiny little flame, by the time that you're done with it, you're a gigantic fire, and you are a true beacon. And therefore, higher dimensional beings, entities will take awareness of it and be like, "Oh, that's interesting. I wonder what they're doing," and get more involved with you. And so yeah, it's definitely kind of like a permission slip also of like, "Hey, I'm ready for higher dimensional interaction."
So in other words, that is what is taking place right now when we are all, getting awareness in a different way than before, and we are, true beacons of light. We are also open up the possibilities for other frequencies and this oh my God, ascension, ascension.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
ascension
this
process. Yeah,
ascension
definitely.
process that we are uh, we are in right now.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and it, like the one thing that I like thinking about or kind of knowing or not, I don't know, it's just a fun thing to think about is
Mm.
that if you right now, us, humans, if we were to time travel, let's say just immediately time travel back to, let's say even like 1500s, or, just 200 years ago, that type of thing. Uh, when we arrive there, we would look like we're glowing to the people there because our frequency is so higher than theirs that we would almost be blinding them.
Yeah.
If we go all the way back to, 0 BC, Jesus time, so to speak, around that time, we would look like a light being, Jesus. We would look like an angel. We would be just glowing that they wouldn't even be able to perceive us just because our frequencies are so vastly different, even though we're still the same human species. We're still human. It's just our frequencies are so different that it would visually look completely different to them.
Mm.
And that's kind of how these higher dimensional beings look to us. They're just vibrating so high, they have such an intense light to them that it blinds us if they were to come down to earth or come like into our face, that type of thing. And so it's the same thing. It's all just different levels of frequency.
Mm. That was very beautifully described of you. Um, it also raised another, image in my head. Once again, there was a joke. Uh, when you look back in time, there are certain ages that we feel are more darker than other ages. So we have, like you said, we're going back 200 years, 300 years, or 500 years back in times. And then the 500 years definitely a darker area in history, or an energetic. So moving back 2000, 2000 years back in time is clearly a slightly brighter energy, but they didn't expect it to take this long. 2000 years is
Yeah,
a pretty long time. And
yeah, yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
certainly did expect another outcome in
Mm-hmm.
the past.
Mm-hmm. I guess, yeah. Well, there's always cycles within our human consciousness,
Um,
within Earth consciousness, all that stuff. There's always cycles, and so just as a heartbeat will go up and down and up and down,
mm,
that's what all the system is. It's going up and down, up and down. It's just more at an angle, so it's constantly going up, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah.
yeah. So can you say
So,
something more about the crown
mm,
chakra?
yes, yeah. Well, it's when you think about it, it's almost like the prism, where when you the classic album image of Led Zeppelin, or I think it's Led Zeppelin, where they have the single white light and it hits a triangle that is a crystal, like a crystal triangle that is called a prism, and it gets separated into the visible light spectrum of the rainbow. The
Mm.
different chakras have the different colors to them and stuff. And so what we are is basically a prism, is that we are source light, that one light that gets spread up into the different visible light spectrums. And so the crown chakra is almost like that first initial prism light that hits, and so it's the one that is closest to source, and the highest frequency within the visible light spectrum. But it kind of goes a little bit past the visible light spectrum because purple is the third eye chakra. After that, it goes ultraviolet, it goes ultra, and so, yeah, that's why the crown chakra is usually described as white, a white color, white or clear. Some people say clear, but I think that's kind of the nuance. Yeah, but but yeah, it's very interesting that like um, just as a crystal will spread out the light, all that type of stuff. We are technically crystalline beings, if you will. We are projecting ourselves out through these multipacity or multi-frequency bands. Um, yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is.
That's fun.
It is. There was something I was about to say there. We did a live actually about the spectrum of light within our chakras. We didn't mention the chakras now that we are talking about these spectra, crystal spectra. We didn't talk about the chakras, but as chakras, but we did
Mhm.
a live about the crystals and the energy field that are connected to the colors within our yourself. Same, but slightly different.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Mhm.
you were to give advice on how to get the chakras in alignment with each other, what would you
Mhm.
say?
Well, there's multiple techniques, multiple tools for it, and so it kind of depends on what you resonate with. Um, some people can do something as easy as wearing the color that is representative of it. Like if you're trying to clear the root chakra, then wearing a lot of red, that
Mm,
type of thing. And so that will kind of clear it out because you're going to be matching the frequency of it, and it'll be kind of forcing all the energy to focus in that specific spot. Um, Other types, I've literally been uh, taught how to uh, heal, balance, clear people's chakras. That was kind of my main healing thing, is the focusing on the chakras, because the chakras are kind of the focal point of the rest of the body. When you heal and balance the chakras, then the rest of the body gets very in balance and healed and all that type of stuff. So visualization is my not forte, but my tool that I use the most if I want to clear something out. And so, what I would visualize, if we go with the root chakra again, is you can see, if you're doing a side view of a human being, of yourself, you can see that there's one kind of vortex going forward and one vortex going backwards. So the front of you has one vortex going out, and the back of you has another going out, and kind of funnels into this one spot, there. And so what I would be doing is literally putting my hands visually, but if I'm doing it on somebody else, I will literally have my hands in front and in the back, and I'll be almost forcing them to spin faster. I'd be forcing them to kind of turn and turn and turn. And while you're kind of forcing them to turn, you'd be pulling out so that the focal point of the thing kind of gets stretched out, gets like opened up a bit, and therefore it allows for more flow to happen. And so you're visually trying to expand the chakra, try to open it up, and then pull out the gunk. And most of the time it will feel heavy and stuff like that. So you're trying to pull out the heaviness to it, and you just continue pulling it out, and throw it out, continue to pull it out, throw it out, energetic, and you do that until it feels like when you go and pull, it's much lighter, it's much more fluid, much more flexible, and then you can kind of fully end that one, and then you move on to the second chakra, and so forth and so forth. So it's a good visualization of just trying to move the chakra faster while also trying to expand it so that it can almost clear itself out. You know, um, um,
mm. So
yeah, there's
you're
multiple.
working that exercise throughout every
Yeah.
chakra within your body.
Mm. Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely. Yeah. And then usually after I would complete all the chakras, you fill it up with a specific type of energy, so that it's basically like key life energy that you're pulling up from the earth. So you're using grounding energy throughout the entire process. So you're constantly flowing this earth energy up and up and up, right? And so kind of filling your chakras with that earth energy. And when you're done, you kind of do the opposite, where you start filling from the top more cosmic energy. And so you're filling it from down, therefore the earth and cosmic energy start mixing in with all the chakras and kind of fill them out. And so you have a good balance of earth and cosmic,
Yeah. Definitely. I get this picture of yeah, you said like have a visualization of a other you outside of yourself. Um, and I get this pushing that we should talk more about how to use that with healing too, because chakra balancing is a kind of healing too. So uh, it also says that they're also saying that it has to do with the power of will. You're strengthening the will power, and that is an exercise by itself to give strength to the connection between the chakras within yourself. So I'm going to give you those tools for you to sort them out for everybody else.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Because visualization and all this stuff is just kind of permission slips for you to do what you naturally have the ability to do. Basically, there's a lot of limiting belief systems that say that certain healings have to go through this type of stuff, this type of stuff, this type of stuff, and it has to do that perfectly and all that type of stuff. And you can't heal any other way, so to speak. But this kind of visualization and doing that type of thing is just a permission slip that allows you to you know uh, do it, type of thing. It allows you to do what you already are able to do without the visualization. So it's we have a lot more ability to change our reality, change us, than we kind of give ourselves credit for. And so the willpower and kind of growing allows you to say, oh, I have more ability to transform my life than I thought I had. And so when you have that visualization, you keep doing it over and over again, it gets easier and easier, and then you feel like you have more ability to live the life that you want to actually live. Yeah.
Mm. So it gives you,
Yeah.
you the tools to master other pieces of your imagination into reality.
Exactly. Yes, it
Mm.
helps foster your ability to manifest what you want to manifest,
Yeah.
to create what you want to create. Yeah.
Mm. So it's kind of a paradox because when you're working with healing or the free will and pushing the limits of your mind into, transform something into reality, you can't put details in the process. You need to go with the flow, so to speak. You need to open up for the universal energy to move its own way. So you can't put it directly into a spot and say transform yourself. And yet the paradox within it is that we are encouraging by the universe to actually do that. When we want to focus on something within healing, we can send energy to a specific part within your body, to the external bodies. And yet, when it comes to another reality, it might not even go there. You think it
Exactly.
is, but it's redirected to go somewhere else.
Mm,
But
mm.
so that is a huge paradox.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a paradox, but let me one second.
Yeah.
So I shall go with
They're actually putting
Bashar.
us to test today. Do you notice?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. We're getting tested on our memories and our different
Yeah.
interpretation on stuff and what we know. And yeah, but I'll go with Bashar's explanation or kind of his formula,
Mhm.
where when with manifesting or with doing anything, it's follow your excitement to the best of your ability until you can't follow it further, and then kind of. Let me reword that. So he says it much more elegantly. I can't. I would kind of just break down more simply to where when you want to manifest something, you do want a very clear image, very clear picture of what you're wanting. So you have all the details. You have you in the place of interacting or doing whatever you're wanting, being whoever you want, that type of thing. So you get it very clear in your head. And then once you get it very clear in your head and you have that frequency that it's creating within you, so because having that image creates a frequency, you stick with that frequency and you drop the image. And so you don't insist that it has to look like that. You still have the frequency that it is bringing you. Therefore, you live through that frequency. You kind of have that.
Mm.
And your higher self interprets the frequency, interprets that image, and guides you to the thing that is most appropriate to that frequency, most like it. It could be exactly like it, or higher self can be like, well, there's that, but there's something better for you. So I'm going to move you over here, and that's why it's a paradox of like, yeah, we want you to go with the flow, but we also want you to have a clear picture of what you want, but not be insistent on having to have it exactly like that. Yeah. So yeah, very much.
So I'm glad you explained that.
Yes.
Thank you, Bashar, for that knowledge. Yeah, the paradox became a truth right now, so definitely a good one. Um, so we are going to, start to round up here, but I guess you have something more you want to say.
Yes, yeah. I was just going to mention the 7 year chakra cycle. Um,
That's interesting.
yeah, so it's something that I think only a few people really know about or really think about. Is that when we're born, so it starts at zero. Uh, your reality is kind of focused on the root chakra, right? And so for year zero, it's root chakra. And then what's going to happen is each year you kind of focus, or there's like a kind of a theme throughout that year of the specific chakra. And so it goes all the way from, one, two, or zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six will be crown chakra. And then once you're seven, it goes right back to root chakra. And it'll do it over and over again. And so you're just constantly in this cycle of each year you have a very specific chakra, and it's not orientated to like the rest of the world or anything like that. It's very individualized system to where it's not like was it like zodiac signs and all that type of stuff. There's specific years that make you either a dragon or a dog or whatever in the Eastern ones, or
Ah,
Scorpio or whatever in the other, that type of thing. It's like when you're born, that's when it starts. So it's very individual, you know.
that's
Yeah,
interesting. I never heard that one before.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
That
yeah,
kind of makes it very interesting to elaborate within your thoughts, because when you are talking about the influences from the stars, from the zodiacs, etc., you always have, even if you have a guidance, or how should I say, you are being pushed to go through certain things, life events, and so on. You have always a huge impact of your free will to move forward within that. You can't escape your chakras.
yes, yeah, yeah. It's
So that
constant.
is almost like a security system. Like, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do with the free will and universe, but you can't escape what's going on here on Earth within your chakra. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very fun one, and it's one that like I don't know, when you look back within your lifetime and you match up each of your years with the chakra that you that was assigned basically that year or focused on or themed, you can tell like little nuances that, oh yeah, this does have to deal with my solar plexus, where I really had to work on my willpower, really had to like dive deep into pushing through something, or that type of
Mm.
thing. Or other years is I really did feel like I was more in my heart. I felt a little bit more loving, a little bit more empathetic, or I was forced to be more empathetic that year, or that type of thing. And so it's little things that you can see throughout your life that it's like, oh yeah, that does kind of make sense that it was within that certain frequency, that chakra that I was working on that year. Yeah.
So if you are in a very having a year of very much destructive things going on around you and within your life, what chakra are you on?
Yeah, exactly. It'll kind of be a guidance of like what you need to be working on first, or what is like your theme for going through that kind of destructiveness and all that stuff. Yeah. Mhm.
So that gives you a quite huge indicator of what chakra you should be working on.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
So you're almost like your own tarot guide. God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. There's always going to be,
I'm
like
feeling like the
bigger.
tower right now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's always going to be influences and other energies that might seem more impactful for that year and other stuff. But the chakras are going to kind of be like the underlying theme. It might not be the most prevalent, but it'd be there. It'll still kind of make itself known. So, yeah.
Ah, interesting. Well, that was some interesting news. I never heard that one before, but it makes so much sense when you when you said it. So it's almost laughable. Um, I have they have some explanations to do what they have kept that secret from me. Well, that is for another show. But do you want to end with a healing?
Yes, yes, yeah. I thought the perfect crystal for this would be clear quartz, because you can connect with all chakras with this one. It can connect with all energies. It's a very kind of universal energy crystal. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Water.
Yeah, that's good. I'm just going to mute myself because the cat just came in and he's having
Yeah,
his own life here. So
gotcha.
I'm just muting myself here.
Okay. All right. So for those that don't know, this is a energy healing, energy, transformation or transmutation. Um, so if you're wanting the energy, just either verbally or internally accept, yes, yes, I want this energy, or no, I don't want this energy. I won't touch you. So yeah, I'll be sending some energy now. Okay. A very simple and quick energy.
So it was a very refreshing energy that moved through me. I almost immediately heard the sound of Aum. So that was quite beautiful.
Yes, yes, there's
I
a.
also smell these scents of cotton freshener, you know,
Mm,
the room spray with cotton
mm,
smell. So
mm,
that was kind of interesting. I don't have the symbol of cotton. Maybe you do.
mm. Cotton, um, like cotton, like closed
Yeah.
cotton. Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah. I don't think we actually. I haven't seen much air fresheners that have a cotton smell, and
Oh, we
yes,
do have here in Sweden.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
We don't
it's
have any
interesting.
cotton, but we do have the smell. Uh,
Yeah, but yeah, it was definitely interesting. There's definitely the visualization of the heart. I saw of the grains, if you will, when I close my eyes and see
mhm.
the energy of what's kind of coming through. But there's also a very heavy pressure of the third eye, and so it was interesting when you say the Om because it's almost like the frequency is very prudent or going forth. So it's the audible version of that frequency coming through. If you will. Yeah, it's definitely very good. It definitely felt like it was just wanting to be very simple and quick because um, the energy, itself with the clear quartz crystal is very simple and clear, very quick, all that stuff. So yeah, and I don't like making my crystal healings complex or long and all that stuff because it doesn't really need to be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I get this word organic in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Yeah.
that is what they are saying with the sentence of cotton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the energy
Yes.
of cotton, organic,
Yeah.
um,
Yes,
organic
exactly.
refreshment.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that was
Okay.
a very interesting chat, Cody. You did
Yes. Yeah.
well
Very much.
today.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the excellent questions. I usually can't. It's how we work off of each other. I need questions to be able to actually talk because I can't just randomly talk.
Yeah, I do know. Um, but it's so interesting because when we talk, we get this.
Mhm.
You have a question, I have a question, and you repeat with an answer, and it kinds of move forward and backward. So
Mhm.
it's um it's a good workout between the energies
Yeah.
connecting there. So yeah, that's all for today, folks. I'm going to end the live stream and I'm going to have a small chat with Cody offline so we know what we are going to talk about the next time. You can always put a question in the comment field here if you want us to address something certain. Maybe Cody has something on his mind now that you want to talk about in the
Mhm.
future.
Mhm. The only thing that's really coming to mind is multidimensional bodies. It's the bodies.
Multidimensional bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, like the
So,
bodies that we form. Yeah.
hmm,
Mm.
so
But not.
that we can do that next time.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
because I feel that there is something more about the chakras to say, so I'm going
Mhm.
to see if they are putting something in my way to the next time. So maybe that is connected to the multiple, what did you say?
Multidimensional bodies. So it's like our body,
Multidimensional bodies. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
multidimensional. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
multi-dimensional personalities.
Yeah. No.
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 We can get that if we are using our chakras in the wrong way. But
Right.
that's enough for today. So thank you
Mhm.
everybody for being here. And if you
Mhm.
want to have something specific topic that you want us to talk about, please drop a comment in the comment field. So do you have any last words?
No, just I love my finishing. Flow with love. Fill up your
Love
heart
with
chakra.
love.
Yeah.
That's a very beautiful thing. And I'm just going to say have a beautiful day in life and see you next time. Take care.
Yes.
I think